Hi, and welcome to the Passion Project. I'm your host, Coach Richard Bacon. This is going to be Remix 2. Well, Remix Volume 2, I guess. We did the first remix back, a few months ago with the best of all of our shows that we had recorded up to that point. And now we're going to do part 2 because now we've gone through 2 seasons and almost at the end of season 3. So I want to bring to you some of the best of. And we're going to start with a show that I thought was really important for people to see and know as we talk about the athletic trainers. And I had the pleasure of having Arlington ISD's training staff. And on this show, we talked about a lot of things. And we started it with the Jamar Hamlin situation.
It is great to be here tonight to introduce to you a few friends of mine. But first, let me tell you a story of how we all got to know each other. A lot of people would say the National Football League is one of the most exclusive clubs in the world. But if you're lucky to live out your dreams,
the Buffalo Bills select
and work your way inside like I did,
Damar Hamlin.
You learn it's actually a pretty big place.
Go get one done. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3.
In the NFL, you got 53 players on the roster, plus at least another dozen on the practice squad. And then you got coaches and staff, another 30 or 40. So when you add it all up, that's over 100 people in and around the team. Maybe it's a little like your job.
See, Ham, that's a great play right there on B. Cooks, huh?
You got your group of people you're working with every day.
All is one today. All is one. We play together.
And then the larger group of people you don't see as much and probably don't know as well. That's life for a lot of us. And it's how I can best explain my relationship with the training staff on the Bills before January 2nd, 2023. Like I knew him, but I didn't really know him. I probably don't have to tell you what happened that night in Cincinnati. We were in town to play the Bengals, and I had an injury that doctors call 1 in a million.
They have been administering CPR for over 9 minutes now.
Players are holding hands, praying. You can just see the worried looks.
Now, when the Bills trainers got to me on that field, I'm not sure what my odds of survival were. But I do know that the staff that worked on me had to do everything just right.
Oh, never lived through times like these.
Damar remains in critical condition after a cardiac arrest.
You see the prayers, and we join them in the hopes that there's better news to come here very, very soon.
And thanks to their training, their poise, their commitment to serving others, the Bills training staff kept me alive.
I feel it in me like the beating of life in my veins. I know there's gonna be some brighter day.
I didn't wake up that morning in January thinking that I would need someone to save my life that day. And I doubt that the training staff thought that they had to do what they did either. That, as much as anything else, is what I've taken away from what happened to me 6.5 months ago. That any of us, at any given time, are capable of doing something as incredible as saving a life and living a life in service to others. It's a blessing. It's a responsibility. And it's the very reason why you're hearing my voice right now. Anyone can be a hero. These are mine.
And we concluded it with an actual demonstration of giving CPR. All right, we're back, and we have a mannequin, we have our AED, and I'm gonna turn it over to Arlington's best. Steve, you got it.
So obviously the most important thing for us that we teach is get that blood circulating. So compressions is extremely important, but what we are going to demonstrate is how to apply 30 compressions. We're also going to apply the AED so that you can enhance survival chances. So the first thing you're going to do is when you walk upon any scene, you want to make sure that the scene is safe and you're not endangering yourself. So depending where you walk up on that patient, you want to make sure that the scene is safe before you walk up on that person and you're not endangering yourself. So we walk up on this person, we look, we make sure the scene is safe. So we verify that the scene is safe. Now you're going to come down and you're going to make sure that the patient is not sleeping, passed out, or anything like that. So are you okay? Are you okay? You give them some good little nudges. At that point, if they don't respond and don't give you any sign of life, you're going to immediately yell for help. Help, help, help. That first person that comes to you, you call 911 and go get the AED. And that's what we will do. So we're going to look, listen, feel at that point, kind of put her ear down, make sure that there's no breaths, no chest rising. She's looking down the chest and she's feeling for breaths. And then we're going to go immediately into 30 compressions in CPR.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7,
Coach Bacon
8,
called 911,
9,
brought that
11,
AED.
12, 13,
The compressions
14,
on an adult
15, 16,
have to
17,
go about an
18,
inch and a half
19,
deep to
20,
2 inches
21,
deep. So it's a
22,
pretty good
23,
compression.
24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29,
Call
30.
for help now.
She's going to pinch the nose, tilt the head
Remove
back
all
so that you
clothing
open the
from
airway.
patient's chest.
Joey has now opened the AED, which obviously gives you the prompts.
8, 9, 10.
You've got the pad placements for the AED.
Pull red handle to open bag.
You get those placed, and as soon as those are placed, you're just going to listen for the AED
Look
prompts.
at pictures on pads. Peel one pad off blue plastic.
Just like it says, you've got the
Apply
pads.
pad to bare skin and do not touch patient.
At that point,
clear.
once the pads are on,
Evaluating
you're
heart
clearing.
rhythm.
You do not want anyone to touch the patient so it does not pick up your
Stand by.
heart signal.
Everybody clear?
Preparing to shock.
Make sure everyone is
Everyone
clear. No one
clear.
is touching the
Press
patient.
flashing button.
Everybody clear?
Shock delivered.
We'll shock the
Provide
patient, keep
chest
everyone clear,
compressions and rescue breath.
and now you start compressions again. You can turn it off.
I was going to say, I can have
6, 7, 8,
And that's it.
9, 10,
There's CPR for you.
12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28,
So
29,
there's really,
30.
with CPR, there's really 3 reasons why we would stop CPR and not continue with care. One reason would be that you've got trained help that comes and assists you to provide CPR. The second reason would be she's completely too tired to continue and she's just giving it her all. And that would be the second reason. And the third reason would be that there's just absolutely no sign of life after trying for quite a bit. So that's CPR for you. And just always remember, doesn't matter who you are, where you are, it can happen to anybody. So my recommendation is go out, find a course. Most fire departments in your cities will offer it. If you're a coach, you should know it. Get with your athletic trainers because you just never know. We've always taught our student athletic trainers because they could be saving my life. So it's always important. These are life skills. It doesn't matter what setting you're in. Anybody should know and should have these skills.
Also, as I was talking to the athletic trainers, there was another clip that resonated with me as I talked about being able to have some great mentors in my life throughout my coaching, my 44 years of coaching. And I talked about some of the different entities that make a school function and how you should get to know those people. And the trainers started talking about that as well, and I would like for you to hear what they had to say about getting to know people that you work with.
If you look, whatever job you do, if you take advantage of getting to know the people you work with, it changes your whole environment and everything you're doing for each other. If more people took that time, especially today and age, I think there'd be change. There's just so much more that I wish people took the time to get to know the people they work with.
This was such a good show having those athletic trainers on. And I want you to see what a typical day for an athletic trainer is, both a regular school day and a game day. Because when you have limited resources in terms of number of people, and you have multiple sports that are in action that same night with multiple teams playing, let's see what a typical day for an athletic trainer is. Here's that clip.
At Bowie, we typically start 6:45 a.m., 7 a.m. with morning treatments. We can see anywhere from around 10 to 15 kids on a high end or a little bit lower end, but we still see a handful. Arlington ISD is a double block, so A and B days.
Gotcha.
So there's an athletic period every day, every period. So there's 4 periods a day, so there's an athletic period every day. So after morning treatments, those students go to class, and then I still see some kids in first period, if whatever athletic period is going on, whether it's an ongoing injury or it's an injury that just happened that day, I can see another handful of kids there. Same thing for second period, but in the meantime, as I'm taking care of them, I also have to do documentation, doctor's notes, update coaches on who came in the morning. Computer-wise, while also doing rehab in my training room. And then the last 2 periods of the day for us are at least a little bit busier. Third period is our football period. So I have football going on in the MAC, in the weight room, while myself and my colleague are taking care of rehab athletes in our training room, as well as helping with our student trainers that we have in the training room. So another 15 to 20 kids that we can get in the athletic period, and not counting any injuries that can happen within it. Last period of the day is a little bit where the chaos a little bit starts. More sports are going as far as like all levels. Freshman, JV, varsity is basketball, track, baseball, all those other sports are going on. So another 15, 20 kids we can see during that period itself. And then all the different areas that they're at. Some are in the gym, some are at track, some are in the MAC. So all different locations. That's just the school day, and then we get ready for the after-school practices. Right now it's volleyball and football, so volleyball is getting ready, practicing after school. We're setting up for football practice. And
as of today, basketball.
That's right. Basketball.
Yep, and basketball just getting...
For boys, girls already started.
Getting going right now, so getting ready for after school.
And
wrestling.
And wrestling.
Getting ready for all that. And then sometimes we still do some treatments for our after school practices. But in the meantime, we're out there in the field making sure that everybody's taken care of, hydration, injuries, all that going on. And our day can end anywhere from 5:30 p.m. till 6 p.m. But that's a regular school day with practices.
So that's just one day.
That's one day. On a high day, we can see 50 to 60 students a day, but it can definitely be more. It can definitely be less. But that's been our happy medium right now.
So before I go to part B, what a game day looks like.
But a normal game day and should include how many athletes that we treat. I did the numbers the other day. I was doing some research. At Martin, we have over 1,200 athletes, and I'm sure Bowie has close to 1,000, if not right there. And like he said, 1,200 kids for 2 people. So every kid that brings in a doctor's note that we have to scan, upload, any sprained ankle that we have to come up with a rehab for, there's 1,200 of them for 2 of us. And so that's another thing. Our volume is a little bit higher at Martin. So our day starts at 6:30 in the morning. We get there and we do our morning treatments from 6:30 to 7:30. And we're seeing anywhere, like she said, 15 to, this year we had a day with 30 kids coming in. And so,
obviously more during football season than other seasons.
And it's every day. And then same thing, athletics. We have athletics every period. The thing that we do a little different at Martin is we have student trainers in just about every period of the day. So first period, we do have our student trainers with us. So it's a help, but it's also us trying to teach them as well. Because if we can teach them how to tape an ankle or tape a wrist, then it is something that can get off of our plate where somebody comes in, hey, I just need ankle tape. Okay, you can tape them, let me focus on this or whatever we need to do.
Exactly.
So we have over, it's like 28 kids in our program. We got about 8 of them in the first period class, and it's our new kids. So then we're also trying to teach them while it's football practice for the freshman football, So it gets kind of chaotic. I mean, we manage and do what we can. Second period, same thing, but we don't have, it's a little bit slower for us. We don't have as much. So that's where we start setting up for our trailer, because we have a big trailer where we load everything in. And first period helps with that. They'll stage it all in the hallway. Second period, me and Janae will make sure that everything's
What's
there.
the content? What's going into that trailer?
Oh, I have a whole Excel sheet full of stuff.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, there's a checklist, coach.
There's a checklist.
There's a checklist. You can't miss any item, coach.
Yep.
There's a checklist.
Because somebody gonna need that you forgot.
It's a
On that
checklist,
day.
coach.
Promise you,
Trust
on
me.
that day.
Yeah.
Trust me.
I mean, just like a football coach that has their trunk with extra helmets, all this, we're the same way. You never want to get to a game and somebody coming, oh, hey, do you have this? I forgot it. Like,
It
just
could be
doesn't
something as
fly.
simple as a
Yeah.
Band-Aid, huh?
Well,
Yeah.
if you're a trainer without a Band-Aid, we got bigger problems.
Okay.
But yeah, so we have a whole list of trunks, and it depends on the venue. Like, are they going to have an area for us to tape in? Do I need to take taping tables? So that's part of us reaching out to each other to know our community and what they're going to offer us when we get there. Obviously, water systems, hydration, stuff like that. Third period, football starts. We do a little bit of a split schedule. So that's when our partner gets there for us, and we're just pretty much swamped third period. We're doing rehabs for football and trying to get that period is our senior kids, and they're trying to load the not load the trailer, but get all the final things ready for the game. And then lunch starts. That's where the person that came in gets to take a little lunch break, and the person that got late, they work lunch treatments. And then fourth period starts, and like she said, we have athletics every period. So fourth period starts, we get another round of kids from all the sports, basketball, wrestling, tennis. And then we do have some kids in our fourth period class. So one of us is trying to load the trailer with our students, and the other one is trying to man the training room to get everything ready. And then the bell rings after school, they come in, football comes in, we kind of close down our MAC, get everyone out. I mean, there's a couple teams lifting and stuff like that, and football does their walkthroughs, and while they're doing that, we're getting food ready for them to eat their pregame meal, and I'm getting my kids fed. We have parents that bring food to our students. So that's like our little meal time, kind of close the training room, kind of calm down before it comes. Before we know it, it's 4 o'clock, the bus gets there, and we're off to wherever we're at to play. And then we get there, set up, play, get home, then you got to unload the trailer and clean up. So
Your Friday is your Saturday too. It comes so fast.
yeah, and like he said, it's Thursday and Friday.
Yeah, Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
There's nights where, you know, I'll put my son to sleep on a Wednesday and I won't see him again until Saturday morning.
Right.
It's tough, but, you know, this is what we do because we love it.
Yeah. Well, it's good. It's good to have people like you in this business because you guys are needed more so than anybody ever know. I did a show with a guy I would consider a good friend. He was also a basketball player for me, and now I call him the DFW guru on basketball, Jabari Johnson. And in Jabari's show, I mean, I really could just run that whole show back as a clip because it was really good throughout. But what I want to talk to you about, or which clip I want to show you from the Jabari Johnson show, is how and why he got his passion. You know, being the Passion Project, anytime I can feed on things that's got passion involved, I like to play on that. So here's the clip from Jabari Johnson's show as he describes what his passion is.
Basketball has always been, you know, since I was 5 years old, I've been passionate about the game of basketball. I always equated as basketball saved my life. You know, it kept me out of trouble, involved in, you know, something positive, and gave me something to look forward to. And in our community, in our neighborhood, it was always so many distractions, but basketball was kind of that guiding light for me. And it's taken me a long way all across the world. It's built great relationships. I've had some successful careers from it. So the game has always been special to me. And it did so much for me off the court. Basketball teaches you so much about life, you know, just going through the process as a player. So that was one of the things when it was time for me to give back. I wanted the players following in my footsteps to get those same lessons and not just be basketball players, but be successful young men both on and off the court.
Let me ask you your opinion on this, because you just sparked something in my head. You said all of the distractions in your surroundings.
Mm-hmm.
Would you consider looking at it this way too? They're only a distraction if you allow them to be.
Absolutely.
So those elements are there. So, and I say that because you hear people tell, man, I grew up, man, in a tough neighborhood, or I grew up without my parents, and I grew up without this, So those things are there for a lot of people, but it can only become a distraction
if you allow it.
You allow it to, because I grew up in West Dallas, and I saw a lot of negativity. There was a lot of positive things too. Don't get me wrong, a lot of positive things too, but I flipped negativity into positivity because I said that is not going to be me. We used to have this saying amongst me and my friends, guys that was playing on the basketball team with me. Don't let life suck you up. Because, and we were talking about his life. We're not going to allow whatever he's doing to draw us into that. So sometimes, even though the distractions are there, they're not a distraction to me because I'm not going to allow it to get me off course of where I want to go. I heard you mention professional basketball, and you said CBA, ABA, overseas. And I'm going to call you out on one of them.
Okay.
ABA. Where you play ABA basketball?
I played ABA. Back in 2004, there was a new ABA expansion team that came to Dallas, to the Metroplex.
Okay.
Texas Tycoons. Shout out to the Texas Tycoons. And it was, you remember the red, white, and blue ball that they used to play with?
Yes.
That was that same league. And what they wanted to do was kind of have a local nucleus of players to build that organization. And I was fortunate enough to be a part of it, in its startup year, and actually for the next couple of years to see it go to another level. But I'm fortunate enough to be able to say I played high school, college, and professional ball right here in the Metroplex. And
didn't have to leave home.
Didn't have to leave home.
Wow.
So that's a cool thing. But the uniqueness of that is I got a chance to play for a local legendary high school coach who at the time was coaching his high school team, but he also doubled as a professional assistant coach as well with this professional organization. So most people know him by the name of Coach Richard Bacon. And so that's a cool thing. We spent some time in the ABA together. Coach Bacon, you were actually, the professional basketball journey is so unique. And if you talk to a lot of guys that's coming out, they'll tell you that even the guys that got the break, they'll tell you that, man, I was a meeting away, or I was almost ready to get this up and say, you know what, dude, I'm finna go get a job or do this, that, and the third instead of chasing this hoop dream.
Mm-hmm.
I had just launched the foundation, and I had been, Mavericks mini camp, Houston Rockets, just going to these different places and doing well, but the politics just kept oh man, that's a different conversation. But needless to say, I had to go to the radio station and do a promo for my foundation.
I remember that.
And they told me to be there, I think it might have been a 3 o'clock interview. I get there maybe about 2:45, 2:30. And there's somebody in front of me that's doing the interview ahead of me. So I have to wait. Well, I'm waiting, and lo and behold, it's Coach Bacon coming out. I think you were promoting a camp of some sort. And we caught up, and you said, hey man, what you been doing? I said, Coach, I'm still staying in shape. I'm still playing. I'm still trying to X, Y, Z. But I was so on the verge of, man, let me go be a high school coach, be a college coach. Because now keep in mind, every year, probably for the last 20 years, Coach, you don't even know this, I probably turned down 3 college coaching job offers every year because I want to stay in this lane versus that lane that you know well.
Right.
So I was almost like, man, I'm just going. And then you say, hey, I'm doing this. I just tied into the ABA. We're getting ready to do this team. Why don't you come out and we'll see what happens. Man, this Coach Bacon telling me to come out here. Man, this is my guy. All right, I'm going to go. And I just remember going to that with a certain mindset and totally dominating it, and the rest is history. But I'm saying all that to say Coach Bacon was the voice that altered the trajectory of my career.
Gotcha.
So I'm forever grateful for that, and also for the opportunity to, get to play for you and learn from you. And the following year, Coach Bacon goes from assistant coach to head coach of this same team. The previous year was an all-star caliber year for me. That same year, Coach Bacon walked me into it, and all-star caliber year. Well, if you have an all-star caliber year in the ABA, that means bigger monies overseas. So the opportunities started coming. The general manager of the team said, hey, I know you got XYZ, but let me run something by you. Get ready to make Coach Bacon the coach. If he allow it, I want you to consider being a player coach in this arena. Now, mind you, I'm life after basketball. This is a good coaching on my resume. Let me go take this opportunity. And so I got a chance to not only play, but work under one of my all-time favorite coaches. So I'm forever grateful for that opportunity. And I know I gave you the long answer for that ABA question, but
this is a podcast.
Okay.
We sitting there just chopping it up, and it don't matter how long that answer is. Sometimes people don't know, and they need to hear behind the scene, because every time I have a guest on, even though I know so much about that person, I still may have forgotten something. And I usually don't forget much, but I forgot, and I do remember the time at the radio station. And we talked about it and all that kind of good stuff.
I tell Mike Sanders all the time, and we still talk to this day. I say, Coach
still
Bacon
talk to
was
Mike. Talk to
I
Mike
wouldn't have been there if he wouldn't have told me to come.
Right. So speaking of that, how did we first meet? Do you remember?
I do. Again, that passionate little boy, passionate about the game. There was a basketball camp that came over to Beckley St. Rec Center when I was 6th grade. Spirited kid, had a lot of energy, getting in some trouble, but loved the game and could play a little bit at that age. And a lot of the coaches kind of knew it, but they said, hey, man, if you don't straighten up, it ain't going to be a basketball for you. And so there was one coach's voice who reigned supreme. I just was drawn to his coaching style, the way he talked, the way he handled players, the way he communicated, resonated with me at that time. And that was the start of this relationship that we have to this day. But you were that coach, and I just remember attention to detail, communication styles with players, and I also like the fact that, see, at that time you were still playing, so I'm big on man, ain't he still playing? And so that was big for me. Right. So that was, I think that was what, 87, 88? Don't quote me on the year, but.
Back in the 1900s. I say that all the time. People get a good kick out of that. Absolutely. Yeah, we played basketball in the 1900s.
Yes, we did. Yes, we did.
Yeah.
Yes, we did.
Well, I do remember that camp, and I do remember you, but I'm going to tell you what drew me even closer to you was the fact that I had and knew your father, who was sitting in the stand. He always followed his boys.
Absolutely.
Wherever his boys was, he was going to be there watching them and making sure they was getting the best. So I knew him, and he told me, you know how he told me, he said, you know, that's my boy over there, Jabari. I said, that's your son? So then that drew me even closer to you. And then even with the ABA, when you decided to play in the ABA, he called me. And we talked about it a little bit. I told him, I said, yeah, he got a shot to be really good at this. I was excited about doing this because this is the only podcast that we've shot so far that we did on location. It was going to be too difficult to try to duplicate a real barbershop atmosphere. But I wanted you to kind of hear and see some of the things that I listen to when I go to the barbershop, because, you know, that's a place for information, conversation, and a nice haircut. But anyway, my barber, Big Dog, and I have to give him his props. I'm gonna give him his props right now. He talked about some things on that show because, like I said, going into that show, that if you bring up the Dallas Cowboys or Rangers or any sports team local, you're gonna get some conversation. And he was spot on when he talked about the Dallas Cowboys being in Frisco and living all plush. But it's crazy because just here a week or so ago, I saw Bart Scott on ESPN's Get Up and First Take say the very same thing my barber, Big Dog, said. And I want to give him his props, let him know, man, I appreciate you. I enjoy listening to you when I'm getting my hair cut, and you were spot on.
They haven't proven anything, right? And they're riding and to wear the stars, a very special thing. We talk about, one of the most successful brands there is in all of sports. And, they get everything, accolades, everything is multiplied when you do something in the Dallas Cowboys uniform, but they haven't delivered. They not only have they not delivered, they have underwhelmed. They have fallen short time after time after time. And it's just not unique to this iteration of this team. It goes all the way back to the Tony Romo days. They always fall up short. And to me, if it's not the players, because the players are different, it's the culture and the environment in which they live in, and they're too comfortable over there, and somebody needs to make them uncomfortable. I don't think the Cowboys and that building has been uncomfortable since Bill Parcells
is in there.
And they came up short.
And I was going to say, is it a leadership problem? Is it a culture problem?
It's a culture problem. Right? They get to go to the cushy, like, let's go to California for camp. Man, they need to be out there like the Junction Boys, right? They need to be out there in that Dallas heat dealing with.
Which is all falls where we used to be out there.
Yeah, they need to toughen up, man. It's too cushy over there. They in the suburbs. You got to do like Apollo Creed did to Rocky and take them to the hood.
Now, let's return to the barbershop and hear what Big Dog's version of what Bart said. Hi, and welcome to the Passion Project. I'm your host, Coach Richard Bacon. I want to set this episode up by telling you why I decided to do the Cutting It Up episode. Everyone, I'm sure, has possibly been to a barbershop, maybe not. If you haven't been, it's for you. And if you have been, just sit back, go get you something to drink, and reminisce a little bit about some of the things that you see at the barbershop. My barbers are actually I have one barber, Big Dog, but it's two homeboys, as we're gonna say. They kind of get very, very intense about their conversation, especially when you bring up the Dallas Cowboys and the New Orleans Saints. You have Rick the surgeon sitting in the first chair. Next to Rick is Ken from New Orleans, who's a big New Orleans Saints fan. And then you have Big Dog, who will be cutting my hair today. So I want you to sit back, relax, enjoy this episode of me going to get a haircut. This is Cutting It Up, where clippers meet conversation.
They should have had, like, I'm not going to let this happen.
So what did the Saints do yesterday?
Victory.
Who they play?
Chicago Bears. Oh, my God.
And
But you won't say oh good for me.
And you brag?
I'm bragging?
Oh, no. You don't have no trouble on the schedule, right?
Yeah, like y'all say, NFL team, all of them NFL teams, right? So don't be just trying to degrade our win because y'all lost. Who y'all beat last week?
You degrade our wins all the time.
Y'all haven't played no playoff team.
Yeah.
Okay, so what happened every time y'all play a playoff team? Y'all got a reputation like the Miami Dolphins.
No, we got 5 rings. Start with that.
No, I'm talking about this season. See, and that's what's wrong with you Cowboy fans.
You have to build a reputation.
Well, this season,
Okay,
y'all had a reputation because y'all are perfected historians.
That's right.
I can't knock y'all with that.
You can't take that
But
away.
sometimes y'all gotta look at the present.
Okay.
Stop trying to use that live stuff to build on the present because those 5 Super Bowls are not helping y'all team right now,
Well,
right?
yes, they are. They helping us because we have.
No, I'm
y'all
saying
got one ring, so y'all even kind of raise y'all head
it's
up.
not helping y'all team right now.
It's right now. You're right.
Nobody playing like Michael Irvin. Nobody playing like Emmitt Smith.
Well, I think CD had a good game last night.
You what?
Dude had a
200 something.
Okay, but was it good enough to win?
It was good enough to win, but they didn't win.
Okay, there's always a but with y'all.
No,
I'm sick of this, man.
It's not.
I'm sick of these buts, man. There's always a but with y'all, man.
It's not.
It's always.
But we know y'all. You know it's a big thing. With Saints
Okay.
fans. That ain't really a big thing. Y'all not. That's not part of y'all.
I shouldn't even be
Y'all
talking.
have one pitch on the wall. We have a gallery that you walk in and say, "Look at that! Look at that!" It's a lot.
Are you number one in your division right now?
No.
I shouldn't even be talking.
Okay, are you number one of y'all? Oh,
Yeah.
And what's y'all record?
Number one.
Oh, what's the record though?
Number one.
Okay, you don't want to tell the record.
What do records matter when you number one in your division?
Yes.
No, they don't.
That means y'all been losing quite a bit.
No, they don't.
But in y'all division, he's sorry this year. So
Well,
that helps you a little
too
bit.
bad y'all not.
That's a good thing. But we're gonna work our way up. We still in it though.
Yeah, y'all lost, man. Y'all Dallas Cowboys are one of the top teams in the NFC, man. No lie.
Okay.
That's no cap. But y'all own enemy, man. Y'all own enemy. Y'all worse enemy.
Now, I can agree to that.
Yeah, y'all worse enemy.
You know, if one thing working right, it's like we do. I don't know.
Cause y'all
like
got a good enough team. Y'all got a good enough team to beat anybody, but y'all beat yourself.
But you can come. It comes back to what I say. You can be talented, tough, all of that. But your mindset, the culture is you ride around Frisco and Plano all day, eating ice cream cones and stuff. You need to get that grit back. Because Philly, they had that grit.
But Big
New York losing, and they
what
had
you
that
saying
grit.
though, Ron? You saying something that ain't never leave.
What? No.
Frisco ain't going nowhere.
I'm not talking about that. I'm saying as far as them coming, over this side of town, like I said, go to UHL and see those young guys, see how those guys look up to them.
Y'all got all that money. You think these people finna get up out of Frisco with
I'm
all that
talking
money?
about the players.
I know you think the players finna get out of Frisco with all that money.
Yeah, they can. They started like those young guys. Yeah. So sometimes you have to be reminded of certain things.
Exactly. Watch some video.
Video don't do that.
It'll be okay, man. Y'all will be okay. Y'all will make it to the playoff and come play us in the Superdome.
Oh, no.
Y'all will be a wild card.
Oh, yeah, we'll beat y'all down. That'll be easy.
Man, we ain't scared of y'all.
Y'all should be. Y'all last memories of us is just kicking y'all butt.
Well, all we got to do is watch the San Francisco team. I'm just saying, because it seems like if we put a San Francisco jersey on, we're going to win. Because y'all jokers scared of San Francisco. They scared of San Francisco.
No, baby.
All they got to do is have that red gold.
What? Shoot. And have a joker named D-Boy McCaffrey.
This next topic that we talked about on our show was mental health. And I had the brilliant, beautiful therapist, Yumika Wright, on my show. And I wanted her to bring to the table some things that I don't think people think about every day in regards to mental health. Tell me a little bit more about what makes it real.
Well, especially when it comes to athletes. Think about it. We put back in the day, and I'm going to say in the day because, mid-40s, that's back in my time. Our parents put us into sports as just an outlet. You go to school all day, you either go to church, on Sundays, but you need an outlet. You need some type of extracurricular activities. So they would put us in sports for fun. As time gone on, now we are training every day, practicing 2 or 3 times a day, and sometimes the fun is taken out of it. But when we're placing our kids in these sports, we forget that we're placing them on a stage to be scrutinized, to be picked at constantly, and then to be sometimes picked on or picked at by your parents. You know, you hear from your coaches, you hear from your peers, your other teammates, and then you hear from your parents in the car, and then we say, but get out there and do your best. How can they do their best when they have all of this running around in their head? Their mind is cloudy. So we all know that everything is connected. So, you know, when it comes to mental health, it's not just a scapegoat or I'm just trying to get out of working hard. Sometimes I really do have some things going on. My parents done got on to me this morning because I was late getting up. I maybe got to school late. I got a bad grade in class or the teacher yelled at me. Now I show up to practice and now the coach yelled. I haven't had a moment to de-stress from what I just dealt with in the hallway, but now you want me to go out here and catch a ball, shoot the ball, hit the ball, or whatever you're asking me to do.
Do something with that ball.
Something.
I tell you what, boy, and don't even start adding in, but my girlfriend or my boyfriend.
Absolutely. Relationships.
Yeah.
And you have to remember, the brain doesn't fully develop until mid-20s. These are children that we're asking to make rational decisions. They're not going to make rational decisions. Sometimes as adults, we're not making rational decisions. Right. And we have a fully developed brain.
Right. You said something there a minute ago that brought, I almost teared up about it because when my dad said it to me, I was like, he don't really know what he's talking about. But he told me this when I started coaching. He said, always keep it fun.
Mm-hmm. And I think you missed that. I remember saying to my son yesterday, have fun. And he teared up and he said, but it's not.
Right.
And my question is, now I'm a therapist. I'm not mama. I'm like, well, what's not making it fun?
Right.
And that's the hard part because sometimes it's self not making it fun, the pressures that you're putting on yourself. But then sometimes it's things outside of your control that's not making it fun. So again, as the therapist, I gave him an activity called the circle of control. Mm-hmm. And it's just an activity with 2 circles, one in the center, and it says within my control, and then the outer circle says out of my control. And I had him list everything that's in his control and those things that's outside of his control. And that just helped him see that, you know what, I actually control more than what I think I control.
Right.
And so it helped kind of ground him and put him back where he needed to be instead of focusing on what took place in the previous days.
Wow, that's awesome. So Mika's mental health show was a 2-part show. And so it was a lot of information and to pull just some of the best was real hard to do. But here's another clip that I'd like you to see as she talked about the mindset or understanding the mindset of an athlete. First talking point today is understanding the athlete's mindset. So I had a group of college athletes on a show, and every single one of them talked about mental health.
Absolutely.
Every single one from JUCO to Division I said that there were things in place for them regarding mental health.
Absolutely.
And my daughter, who plays at Virginia State University, they have mental health days.
I love it.
So once again, going back to my original thing, this thing is real.
It is. And I love that Virginia State have that because you get more productive individuals by allowing them to just kind of regroup, relax, and refocus versus just constantly keeping them going. So that mental health days, a lot of people should really look into that, maybe in school districts.
We're going to close it out with the episode that I had with 3 of my really close friends that all were former head coaches, and now they are assistant coach. And I wanted to find out how were they adjusting to this new role of assistant coach. So we chopped it up about that, and here's that clip. The last clip I want to show you is from that same episode where we kind of shared some fun facts about each other and how difficult it is sometimes. When you're in this profession, you create a lot of friends. You also can create some enemies as well. But Vaughn Harris and I were really, really close. And it got to the point that when we played, we scheduled each other to play almost every year, or I was playing in his events and our teams would play. And it became kind of difficult to do because it was hard winning and it was hard losing. Our friendship was so close that if I won, I felt bad, and if I lost, I felt bad.
Absolutely.
Either way.
Absolutely. As a matter of fact, we stopped playing each other.
We stopped playing each other for that very reason.
Absolutely. Yes,
you know, I was like, man, you know, like anybody else, you just accept the win and go on about your business.
Absolutely.
But between he and I, you know, and here's the other thing I try to do with people that I really like. I support you. You have a shootout, you have a whatever, I'm coming. I'm coming. I had some pictures pop up on memory, man, back in like 2016 when we played in one of your, what was it called? The Crest Fest? The Crest Fest.
Yes,
popped up on my phone, man.
I never got invited to the Fresh Fest.
Well, you weren't a friend then.
Because
we came.
We came. I met him at camp, like at SMU camp, many years ago.
Right. Well, I'm gonna share some stuff with you. Everybody in here, I'm gonna share a couple of things about y'all, why y'all here. Okay. Because I had the right to invite whoever I wanted.
Yes, sir.
Like for Vaughn, for example, what he taught me how you could have a turbulence with calm.
Oh yeah, that's one.
It could be turbulence, but he is calm.
Oh man,
collected. We send each other texts of philosophies a lot of times.
Yes,
just 2 or 3 words to statements, and then see if he can respond back to me. And if he can't, and I'm hitting him with something else. Well, okay, what about this here?
Right.
Because I'm gonna tell you what he messed me up with. So I don't know where I was coaching at the time. But I go over to watch him play Lincoln. He was good that year. Lincoln was good that year. I come to watch him and Lincoln play, right?
I remember the game.
Because he had told me. He said, we playing Lincoln. I said, well, I'm going to come to the game. And I went over to the game. John, you know, everybody, they all loud and stuff. Vaughn kids come out. They run around the court. They go through layups. They ain't got no basketballs in their hands. No basketballs in their hand, Derek. Look. And they acting like they passing it to each other. They catching it, dribbling it. Like they dribbling, shooting layups, right? I'm like, what the? So I went down there and asked, say, man, I said, Coach, what y'all doing, man? Y'all ain't got no ball. Lincoln won't get y'all no balls?
Yeah, they got us balls.
He had a great explanation. He said, when we don't have the ball, we ain't missing no shots.
No bad passing.
No bad passing. Ain't no dribbling off your feet. Everything was perfect.
Right.
If you warm up perfect, if you practice perfect, that's how you get perfect in the game, right?
Well, we had actually made our mistakes in the other gym when we used the ball. We get our sweat in the other gym. That was a mind thing. Because we went to Tyler, and Tyler kept rolling us balls down and we were like, nah, we don't need any balls. We had already warmed up, but people don't know that.
Right,
we warm up in another gym and come in there and just put on our angels. And now from this point on, nobody's gonna make any mistakes. So I got to call your name, Richard. You catch it, Vaughn, I got you. You know, they get animated with it. So they into the game now. They in tune. Yeah. So that was the key to that. It was nothing.
I know it was all mental.
Oh yes.
And what they say about this game, 90% of it is mental. So
well, we were 80.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
So he was ahead of the curve. He caught the mental game early.
Right. So that's what I'm saying. You can learn from anybody, man.
I can't wait for you to tell the story about the Thig pen there.
Huh?
I can't wait.
You can't wait to talk about Rob. Rob, when Rob and I first started, we got close through a mutual friend, Steve Smith. He was working over at Bowie.
Right.
And it was just something about it, man. He was, you know, if you meet Rob, he bubbly, man. He just draw you in. And to this day, we go play golf together.
Yep.
We call each other. He just brought me some boudin back from Louisiana.
Oh,
dude. You bring me no boudin.
Like
I want his friend.
Like he said.
Coach, I got it.
You can be mad. Y'all just got friends here in the studio.
15 minutes ago.